As a first time home buyer, how many homes should you look at before buying a house?
Yeah, good question. I think there's not really like a right answer to this necessarily. I've had people buy the first house they've seen. Not often. That's not as common, obviously. I've had people look at, I don't want to say hundreds of houses. I don't think it's ever got that much, but tens of houses. I don't know, like 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe 70. And I think the key is just that feeling you get in the end, like that's the right house. And I think the way you get that is when you know what you want, criteria. 3 beds, 2 baths, north end. I want finished basement. I want like open concept. I want a 2-story house, whatever, right? And you start seeing those homes, but those houses you see that fit the criteria on paper, you might not get that feeling on any of them, and eventually you do. And I think what the key is there is like you've just kind of been around the block enough, like no pun intended, but like you've literally been to enough houses in person that you're finally able to be like, oh, I get it, that's the one. And you might not like be able to explain why that is. You just kind of get that feeling. So it's like, well, then when is it normal to get that feeling? And I don't think most people kind of get that feeling until they at least see about 5 to 10 houses, I find. So maybe that helps someone understand, like, okay, if I've seen 7, I probably should be there. But I wouldn't use it as like, I wouldn't worry if you're at 15 and you don't, or if you get it after the first one, like whatever works for you to get that feeling. But usually like 6 houses, 4, 5, 6 homes till at least get to that point. What
That's pretty accurate. I do think if it starts really getting up there, like 20, 30, 40, that maybe they need to reevaluate some things. Sometimes people start out with a criteria that isn't realistic for their price range. So they might look at 20 and be like, we're not finding anything that has a renovated kitchen, because there really aren't many houses in their price range that come with an updated kitchen. So they might need to say, cut that from the criteria to open up a lot more options. But I don't think that there's a magic number. I've also had people that have looked at one house, and often too, we can guide them and show them things so that they know they're making the right decision. There have been times, and you've probably experienced this too, where someone loves the first house they've looked at and they're nervous. They're like, we don't know if this is good. Like, we've literally looked at one house and we know, like, this is really good. Like, I'm not just saying that. I know we just met and we just started looking at houses, but like, this is really good for the price. And the fact that you can get this house tonight is really good. But I also understand why they might feel like, I don't know, like, we've literally looked at one house. I remember I showed a house back in like 2017 or something. And it was such a good house and such a good price. And I remember telling the girl, like, I know it sounds like I'm just saying this because I just met you. Like, this is really good. I still don't understand why how that worked out selling for as cheap as it did and how good of a house it was and everything. But anyway, she didn't move forward because she just didn't feel comfortable because it was the first house she looked at. So every house we looked at after that, she kept comparing to that first one. Like, she's like, oh, I should have bought that one. I'm like, oh, I know. But it ended up being that she never bought a house because she just couldn't let it go. Like, she was like, that was such a good, But I also, like I was saying, do understand why she didn't want to, make that move because of not seeing a lot of other options. Yeah. So I do get it. And it can feel high pressure when the realtor's like, you should buy this. It's so great. Yeah. But I mean, no one should ever tell you what you should buy. It's up to you at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's funny you say it because I have like a story in my head where I think it was also 27, might have been 2018, might have been 2017 actually, and it was like the first house we were seeing, and I remember being like, that's it, that's the right one for him. And I like, how do I tell the client that? Because it's like first house, salesy, it's like, yeah, sure, like it's my first house, like I had to see more, and I get like you need to see more, but I remember too comparing it back to that first one, and he was able to get a house, but I feel like, and I think he may have admitted this or not, that he wasn't able to get a better house than that first one he saw. I think the reason why is because when the first few houses you see, you're comparing against like everything in your criteria. And then after that, it's like day to day to day. So it's like one house comes up, day 3, nah. And then day 6, another house comes up, nah. But day 1, you have 20 options, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a good chance that in that 20 is probably a really good one. So it might just take a while to get one better. And because it's the first one, you're not really ready yet. So it's really tricky. And then how does a good real estate agent convey that to you as well without coming across as like pressury or something? So yeah, it's definitely something where it's hard. But I think that if you can try to just go to open houses first before even doing the showings, just to kind of get a feel of those, like what the houses are like in your price point. And then when you start seeing them, then that way, at least if you did come across that really good first one, you're at least like, well, I have all these open houses I've been to, and I feel more ready maybe. That could help.
And also too, sometimes, like, for example, I showed these first time home buyers a house. Same thing. It was like perfect for them. I was showing them based on like comparables that like this was a really good one for the price. And then we looked at like 4 or 5 other properties in that price range that day to show them the difference. And they saw it too. Like at the end of the day, they're like, we see exactly what you mean and how good of a deal this is and how good this house is, because we just went around to a few others in the price range. And that really helped to educate them. So that's something, you know, if a client books one showing and they're like, oh, I love this house, but we haven't seen anything else. Like you can stand there and book a few more just for kind of reassurance, right?
Exactly.
And they may go to the other ones and like them more, but you know, that's an option too. So.
Mm-hmm.